When the news broke that Ace Frehley had passed away, the rock world stopped for a moment. Fans across the globe flooded social media with disbelief and sorrow. But for Peter Criss, the original drummer of Kiss, the pain went far beyond music. He didn't just lose a former bandmate, he lost a brother from the wildest years of his life. Peter was quiet for days, refusing interviews, staying away from the spotlight. Friends said he was shaken to the core. He'd always had a soft spot for Ace, even after all the ups and downs between them. When he finally broke his silence, his words weren't about fame or feuds. They were about friendship, regret, and memories that would never fade. In the early days of Kiss, Peter and Ace were like two mischievous brothers. Both came from tough New York neighborhoods, both loved loud music and late nights, and both felt like outsiders in the band's power struggle. When fame hit, they often leaned on each other. "Ace understood me when nobody else did," Peter once said. Together, they shared laughs in smoky hotel rooms, got into trouble on tour, and faced the madness of stardom side by side. When Peter spoke after Ace's death, he recalled those nights, the laughter, the wild dreams, the music that felt bigger than life. "We were just kids from the Bronx," he said softly. "We made the world listen to us." As Kiss grew, so did the tension. Gene Simmons and Paul Stanley ran the band like a machine, while Peter and Ace just wanted to keep it real. The business side slowly killed their friendship. Peter left in 1980, Ace followed 2 years later, though they met a few times afterward. Things were never quite the same. The drugs, the fame, the egos, they all left scars. When Peter heard about Ace's death, guilt hit him hard. "We could have talked more," he admitted. "We could have fixed things." In that moment, all the bitterness of the past washed away. What was left was sorrow, pure and heavy. In his statement, Peter didn't talk about Kiss as a brand. He talked about Ace as a soul, a guy who made his guitar talk. He said he could still picture Ace standing next to him on stage, eyes closed, lost in his own world, bending notes like they carried his heart. "He wasn't perfect," Peter said. "None of us were, but when Ace played, something magic happened. You could feel it in your bones." He called Ace the real heart of Kiss, a tribute that moved fans to tears. Peter wanted the world to remember not the arguments, but the sound that made them legends. When Peter arrived at the private memorial, people noticed how frail he looked, older, quieter, humbled. He stayed in the back, head bowed, tears hidden behind sunglasses. The service was filled with old friends, roadies, and family. Paul Stanley and Gene Simmons were there too, but it was Peter's silent presence that touched everyone. During the eulogy, someone played a tape of Ace's laughter from an old interview, that signature cackle that filled the room. Peter broke down, whispering, "That's my brother." It was a goodbye he never wanted to say. A week after the funeral, Peter's wife revealed that he had written a private letter to Ace. It wasn't for the public, it was something he needed to do for his own peace. In the letter, Peter thanked Ace for believing in him when no one else did, for the endless laughs, and for the chaos that somehow turned into music history. "We made a mess," he wrote, "but it was a beautiful mess." That letter, later shared with fans, became one of the most heartfelt pieces ever written by a rock legend about another. After Peter's words went viral, Kiss fans from every generation came together in grief. Old rivalries between fans of the classic and modern lineups seemed to fade for a while. Across the world, candles were lit, guitars were played, and murals appeared in Ace's honor. Peter's tribute had reminded everyone what really mattered, the brotherhood that built Kiss, the friendship behind the face paint. "This isn't about fame," Peter said in one radio interview. "It's about love. Love for music and love for a friend I'll never forget." Peter later shared that he had written a song for Ace years ago, a slow, bluesy ballad that he never released. After Ace's passing, he decided to record it. "It's not a hit," he said, "but it's from the heart." The song, called Back to the Stars, was released quietly online. It was simple, raw, filled with emotion, Peter's way of saying goodbye. In the chorus he sang, "We burned so bright, then lost our way, but I'll see you again someday." Fans called it the most honest thing he'd ever done. In interviews that followed, Peter reflected on how fame had torn them apart. "We wanted to be rock stars," he said, "but we didn't know what that really meant." He spoke about the long nights, the exhaustion, and the constant pressure to outdo themselves. "We lost friends, we lost pieces of ourselves." When he talked about Ace, his voice softened. "He never pretended to be someone he was. That's why people loved him. That's why I loved him." For Peter, the music was eternal, but the man behind the makeup was what truly mattered. In his final statement, Peter said, "I'll always picture him with that grin, the one he had before we went on stage, like a kid who couldn't believe he'd made it." He paused, then added, "I hope he's up there, guitar in hand, playing for the stars." With that, Peter closed the chapter on one of rock's most legendary friendships. Two kids from New York who dreamed big, fought hard, and changed the face of rock forever. One gone, one left to remember, but their story will echo every time a Kiss song plays, every time a fan looks to the sky and says, "Rock on, Ace."